everybody. It's Georgia Rose, and I am in the soul space. I do this every week. I point to the wrong side. On the soul space, and Kuda soul space. And tonight we have a special guest, Sherri Mirando, who is someone that I work with in both of my careers, in real estate and in our spiritual work. Sherri is our title person at the company that I work with. So we talk about spiritual stuff all this time. But I forgot my iPad, which is usually where I share the show and look at all our comments. But I do have our comments up in front of me tonight. But I have my trusty cell phone, which I am going to share the show. So for those of you who know the drill, if you want to share the show at home, that would be really terrific. And I'm doing that right now. And actually, it's easier to do on my phone than it is on the iPad. Fancy that.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I think we're going to have a great show tonight. Oops, I am putting the wrong thing in though. Hold on one second. Okay, here we are. So we got the show shared, so I hope you guys are all joining us at home. So tonight is February 17th, and I'm going to talk a little bit about astrology, and then we're going to go right to Sherri's story. Because as you guys know, for the whole month of February, we have devoted our shows to Love is Eternal. And what we mean by that is, those of you who know me, I'm also a psychic medium, not just an astrologer. So I oftentimes do readings for people who want to speak to a past loved one or someone on the other side. And through those readings and my own beliefs, I just know that love is eternal. I've seen love come through from all realms, and even when we lose somebody in their past, wherever they are still loving us, and we have the ability to feel that love and receive messages and all kinds of signs from anyone that has passed in our life. So we're going to talk to Sherri in a little while about that. But first, I just want to go over a little bit of the astrology today, because we've got some things coming up that you guys really need to know about. First of all, on the 23rd, next Sunday, Mars does go direct, which is great because Mars has been retrograde for a really long time. And when Mars is retrograde, it kind of takes the wind out of our sails. Like if you have been wanting to get something done, but you just couldn't get it done, now you'll start to feel some movement on that. So that's really great. And right now, out there in the world, we've got a lot of polarization. We all know we've got a lot of strong opinions. This is a week where our opinions and our feelings are going to get a little bit stronger because we have a ton of planet in Pisces. Now, I've been talking about that logjam of Pisces energy for a long time, but we actually have now, as of the end of this week, let me just glance at my notes because there's so many planets in Pisces that sometimes I even forget how many there are. But we've got Neptune, Saturn, let me just keep looking here. Where are we here? We've got Mercury, Neptune, Saturn, the North Node, and yeah, that's in Pisces. All of that is in Pisces right now. So what does that mean? Pisces is a water sign. It heightens our emotions, but it can also be very dreamy and confusing. It's great for our imagination and any kind of creative expression and creative work. But it's not so good for finding reality and the real structure of things. Saturn is in Pisces now also. That's the other planet that's in Pisces. And Saturn wants to find structure and give form to things. In Pisces, it has a little bit of a hard time doing that. But all these planets are headed towards Aries in those last degrees of Pisces soon. So the feeling that we've had these last couple of weeks of what's going on, where are we going? Well, we think we're going here, but maybe that's not it, and everything keeps changing. That will start to dissipate a little bit as the month goes through. But we still have a lot more of that, and it's probably going to be a little bit more amplified before we get to next week. We have a new moon coming in Pisces at the end of the month on the 27th, 28th. So that's going to really bring all this Pisces energy to a head. Pisces is an energy of dissolve. It wants to dissolve our boundaries and dissolve things in our life that are unhealthy. And that's why a lot of us are suddenly having an awareness of what we want to get rid of. But the thing in Pisces is we don't know where we want to go to yet. The new territory hasn't formed. So if we're all feeling that, we're going to have that really heightened this week. Specifically this week, we've got some transitions that are really going to bring in some specific energy. But just remember that we're in this for the long haul. We're in a period of tremendous transition right now in the world. Things are really, really changing. It's almost like we're in the height of a very destructive period. And what I mean by that is not negative. What I mean is that things are dissolving and things are being destructed that really don't work for us anymore. And while we're in that time period, things can be very heightened and emotional. But remember, guys, it's only temporary. For those of us who are believing one way or the other and think, wow, this is what's really happening now, it's going to change again. We have planets going retrograde and planets going direct. It's backwards and forwards motion. The soup is still getting stirred. It's not soup yet. So just remember that. Don't get too involved in it, because it's all going to change direction as the planets change directions and signs. So for this week, we've got on tomorrow, we have, hold on one second, I'm just changing pages here.
So much information.
It is a lot of
Georgia.
information.
Oh,
I take
my
a lot of
goodness.
notes when I go through.
You do.
But, okay, so this week on, tomorrow, which is Tuesday the 18th, we have Venus in a square to Uranus. What does that mean? It means that the things that we love and desire may shock us. We may have some changes going on there. We may get sudden surprises. This can stir our feelings up, but it also really brings into our awareness what's no longer working and what's old and what we want to do in the future. Wednesday, we've got the moon and Scorpio in a trine to Saturn. When the moon goes into Scorpio, that's going to heighten all this water energy that we have in Pisces. So when we have a lot of planets in water signs, it does bring the emotions to the surface. So it's an emotional week. There's a grand water trine that starts to form on Wednesday. And this really makes us feel strong emotions about our belief systems, about the things we believe in. So, go within, got to relax, all right? We also have an energy on the 19th and the 20th into Wednesday and Thursday, same thing. Certain aspects are really bringing up those watery emotions. We're releasing what no longer works. We're trying to find what does work. We're really having things come into our awareness. Mercury, the planet of our minds and communication, is right there in that mix. So watch your words. You're going to want to express things, but it's not the time to do that. All right? So just, be careful around that, because we have Mars in what we call a Thor's hammer configuration, which I won't go into, but just say Mars is still driving us a little bit. It's been a big player in the last couple of months. Mars wants us to take action, and this is an energy where maybe you want to just not take action quite yet. Go within, really examine what's unhealthy and what's healthy for you, and try and take a step backwards so that you can really focus. Because this energy, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday, is an energy this week, where we may have a tendency to make a mountain out of a molehill. And everything becomes more amplified and seems more important than it is. And by the end of the weekend, you're going to see it really wasn't that important. So take my advice, right? Sherri knows, take my advice. So, and then when we go into the weekend, Friday and Saturday, that energy is still with us. Things can be very modified and enhanced. Maybe we want to speak something, but it's really not the truth yet, things like that. And then once we go into the 23rd, we are now have Saturn in the mix in Pisces with these planets. And now at that point, in the midpoint between 17 and 19 degree Pisces, what happens is Saturn makes it all real. So all those extra emotions we had, all the exaggerated feelings we had for the week, Saturn comes in by Sunday, gives us a reality check, and now we kind of feel like, I think I can see the future. I think I can kind of see where I want to go here in this energy, the discussion I kind of want to have. And this is really about taking care of allowing reality into these fantasies that we have, because Pisces can be very fantasy driven. It is an absolutely amazing time to have creative expression. If you're an artist, if you draw, if you paint, if you write, beautiful time to do that. And also, as Saturn starts to stabilize our weekend on Saturday and Sunday, it's a really great time to have that communication finally that you held back, hopefully, over the last few days, and engage in a physical activity maybe, take a walk out in nature, do something a little bit physical, because this is an energy that's really wonderful and an important energy for making some decisions and making plans. So we have a real helter-skelter kind of week, and then in the weekend it kind of stabilizes, and we'll start to feel really good about things, because by the weekend, Mars stations direct. So,
and what does that mean?
Well, when Mars stations direct now, the energy moves forward a little bit. So now we can really kind of see through the fog, because Pisces is a very foggy energy, and up until the 27th, 28th, when that new moon in Pisces comes in, we're really not going to be able to see it's like having no windshield wipers in a storm. We're like, okay, well, I know I'm going somewhere. I know I don't like this. I know what I do like, but I can't really see where I'm going yet. So let's say hi to some people.
Okay, sure.
So I've got Cheryl on. Sophia is on. She has the same last name as you, so I imagine that's one of your relatives. We've got Cheryl Yohai from Signature On. She's one of our ladies. Sarah's on. Hey, Sarah. Sarah watches us from Virginia.
Wow.
And Michelle Allen is on. So we've got quite a few people. Say hi if you're watching. I know we got a few people in the soul space tonight with my guest, Sherri Mirando, who is somebody who is a partner in crime in what I call my earthbound life and also my spiritual life.
Instant connection.
Instant connection. Sherri, do you use affirmations? Because I'm going to do some affirmations, and we're going to talk about your story.
I do. I mean,
Yeah?
listen, oh, absolutely.
Anything that helps, right?
Anything, every day is different. You wake up different every day.
Yeah.
And some days you have to push a little harder this way or push a little harder that way. So I
Yeah.
always talk to myself.
That's a good thing. And affirmations, I feel like they kind of steer us in the positive direction.
Yeah, you do.
Because sometimes we don't talk so well to ourselves. So, Bobby, let's roll our affirmations. Hey, so for those of you who were with us in January, I started weekly affirmations. And what I do with the affirmations is I try and coordinate them with the astrology so that you're really using universal energy when you do your affirmations, or what I like to call my chants in the morning. I do them in meditation. And in January, the 4 affirmations that we had were affirmations that we used during the new moon. And we're going to do the same thing in February. So in January, Bobby, if you want to put those affirmations up, I'll remind everybody what January's were. And, yep, January's affirmation, the first week was, I am in control of my life. And the reason why I chose that one was because as the new year came in, it was really a great reminder that we actually are in charge and we can take control of our life. Next week was respond from a beginner's mind. Because being that it was a brand new year, I thought, let's wipe away all the old stuff.
Definitely.
Clean off the porch,
definitely.
and just start fresh. The third week was my thoughts become my life. And I live by this one all the time. Sometimes when I find myself getting negative, I'm like, oh, delete, erase. You don't want the universe to hear that one. Make sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Make sure that your thoughts are becoming your life and they're the life you want to live. And then the fourth one was, I'm excited to explore new ideas. And I did that one just in time for that new moon that we had at the end of the month. So we have a new moon coming up on the 4th week. Now we're in our 3rd week. And tonight's affirmation, well, the first affirmation we had for February were doors to truth and love are opening for me. And the reason I chose that one was because we had a lot of energy the first week of February that was like, what's true, what's not true. It was hard to see truth. And then last week, because we had a lot of energy coming in from the Pluto in Aquarius energy, which is all about releasing fear and bringing fears to the surface. So our affirmation last week was, I release fear and trust my intuition to guide me. And really tapping into that inner voice to propel ourselves to the life that we want. And tonight, the information I chose was because I really believe there's so much noise and data and information out there right now with the cosmos. Everything is very accelerated. So the affirmation I chose for us this week is, I'm opening to hear my inner voice. A very simple affirmation, but
good.
one that we can really utilize in order to center ourselves and really prepare for the new moon that we're going to be having on the 27th, 28th, and start to get into the habit of listening to our own voice instead of all those voices that are out there making so much noise in the world.
Well, you know what? A long time ago, I did a seminar.
Oh, okay.
And
What did
what
you
I got
learn?
out of the whole thing is the only thing that's actually true is you and I sitting here right now.
This present
You
moment.
tell yourself so many stories that are not true. You make up a whole story and then someone says something to you like, what?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I had that wrong.
My yogi, Jackie, if she's watching, I love you, I miss you. She used to say to us all the time, your mind will always lie to you.
Right, right. We make up things that are really just not true.
And in an energy
and
like-
we believe it.
Yeah, it's so true. And in an energy like the Pisces energy this week, it's going to amplify those stories in our head because our imagination runs wild.
Wow.
So if we can use our imagination for good things, it really can be creative. So now, Sherri, the reason why we have you on the show tonight, I'm really excited for Sherri to be here, is because we devoted all of February to messages from beyond and proving that love is eternal and that whether it's our parents or another past loved one, they're still there. You know, the energy never dies, right? Souls never die.
But sometimes it takes a little while to figure that out.
Yes, it does.
Like you have to.
First we think we're going crazy.
Right, right. We definitely think we're going crazy.
Yep.
But you just think it's poof the magic dragon when someone leaves this earth, and I believe that it's not.
It's not, and it's so funny because like the hardest part of losing someone is that feeling that they're no longer on the earth. That's the hardest part. And if we can just step right into that belief system of I can still talk to this person, I can still feel them, I know they're here, it really is so comforting.
Well, one time a priest said, the hardest part is you can't love or be loved again, physically.
Right.
But you can.
Right, you can.
You can.
You absolutely can.
You really can. And it just really depends on, you know, how you grieve and what you believe, I guess.
Absolutely. And you have to have faith in something. And
right.
like even now when I'm having a really tough moment, or you know, sometimes people are just mean. People can be mean.
Right.
And you want your mom.
Right.
You know, whenever somebody's mean to you, you just want your mom.
Oh God.
Whether you had a great mom or a bad mom, you want that mom. And so one of the things that I do oftentimes is like I actually can bring in and feel like my mom hugging me and
oh,
the
you're
way
so lucky.
well I think we can all do that if we go into that sensation, you know. And I just I talk to my parents all the time, you know. And,
I do too.
And other level, I've lost a lot of friends. There's a running joke with me and my friends. I always tell male people, don't be my friend because all my male friends always die. It's the strangest. It's true. It's the strangest thing. I've got like 3 or 4 very close buddies that were like my buddy in life that are now on the other side. And they're all watching over me. So it's really wonderful. But this is about your story. So I know you have a couple of stories. You were telling me one with your mom, a couple of things with your mom. Now, how long ago did you lose your mom?
7 years ago.
Okay, 7's a lucky number though, so we're here tonight.
Okay, good.
And what was her first name?
Diane.
So Diane is here with us. She's going to be around us. So.
She follows me everywhere.
Now, was she like you in the sense of very bubbly?
She was.
Because I feel bubbly.
She was a laugher.
Okay.
Like I miss her laugh. Like she laughed a lot. Like we would crack up, you know.
Do you still hear her laugh in your mind?
I wish I did, but I don't hear her laugh.
Okay.
I don't hear her laugh.
Right.
We got
to fix that for you.
I can't hear her laugh. Like if I think about the laugh, but I don't actually, you know.
No, I mean in your mind.
Sometimes I hear her call me.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know. They say that you talk a lot in the shower, which is so weird.
Oh, yeah. Well, water is a conductor.
Why? I don't know.
Water definitely conducts, and that's
Oh,
why.
really?
Yeah, and that's why when we have water.
I'll say, Ma, oh my God.
No,
what'd you
water
do?
is living. If you ever really
Oh.
want to study about the way water is in my reality anyway, there's a beautiful, beautiful woman online. Her name is Veda, V-E-D-A, Austin. And she studies water. She's written books, and she does a certain type of photography where she does crystal photography of water right at the freezing temperature. And water is a living, breathing thing. Like she'll say a word, and then the water takes on the word. It's amazing. Look her up, guys. Veda Austin, V-E-D-A Austin.com. Her work is absolutely sublime.
Wow.
And so yeah, water is a conductor. That's why, like now, when we have all these planets in Pisces, it will be a very heightened psychic time. A lot of people will open psychically during this time. Yeah, it's definitely, water is a player.
Wow, I didn't know that.
My friend and I actually collect water from the ocean on the full moon, and we use it to meditate.
You do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and water is living. Yeah, water is a living, breathing
Sophia,
thing.
I hope Daddy's not watching. He'll be saying,
your husband's going to go.
What is she doing now?
Your husband's going to see you wading into the water where it's like 20 below zero
That's
out.
okay. I don't
You're
care.
in New York.
I do me.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
fine.
So funny. So funny. I love it. So anyway, tell us about your mom. I'm going on and on tonight.
No, it's okay.
Jupiter's
It's
in
okay.
Gemini,
It's
and I'm
okay.
like, you know.
It's okay. So my mom was my person.
Oh, yeah.
She was my biggest cheerleader. I don't have a sister. She didn't have a sister.
Oh.
And if I would stop, she'd bump into me. That was
She
the
was your
relationship.
shadow,
She
yeah.
was my shadow. If I picked this pocketbook, she wanted the same pocketbook. Like,
Wow. What
yeah,
a beautiful thing to
it
have
was
in your
beautiful.
life.
Oh my God, she was just.
So
yeah.
now, what happened when she passed? Did you like feel her right away, or what started?
So
happening?
what happened was when she started really getting sick, I started really getting scared.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to church because she was Protestant. She married an Italian. I was brought up Catholic, so
Yeah.
I was afraid. I was like, just thinking
yeah.
ahead, like, what do I do? Will
Yeah.
they let her in the church? She wasn't,
Yeah, because those
So-
of us who grew up very rigidly Catholic, there's all these certain dogmas where
Right.
you know
Rules.
Yeah, and
There's
it's like
rules.
it kind of screws you up a little bit. No offense to anyone, but
No, but there's like rules, so you have
yeah,
to see.
it's not an open way to live. you
Right.
know, but-
So I went down to the church and I was being nosy and I wanted to go to confession and there was, this is hysterical. So the woman said to me, we have two
when in
priests.
doubt, confess.
We have two priests. One's on the right and he's the older gentleman and we have one on the left and he's the younger.
Uh-huh.
So I went to the older.
Okay.
And I went in there.
Because you were
and-
looking for advice.
I said what I said. He said,
Okay.
go say your Hail Marys and your Our Fathers. I left and I said, well, that's not what I was looking for.
Oh.
So I went around the other side of the church and I peeked in and there was this young priest.
You went to
and the
confession
hands-
twice?
Twice.
Oh, you were
And
really cleansed.
His hands were going and he was talking and I said, okay, so this
He's
is
my
my
guy.
guy. So I sat and I waited for him and I went in and I said, listen, my mom is really sick and I'm very nervous. And he said to me, so tell me a little bit about your family. And I said, she's in Florida right now, but I just want to make sure that God forbid something happens. He goes, oh, they're blessed the same, we're good. I said, oh, I feel so much better, thank you. He goes, but I want you to do me a favor. When Mom gets to New York, I would like you to let me know because I want to come see her.
Wow, that was heaven sent.
Listen, heaven sent. So I let him know she was there, and he came walking up my driveway with his flip-flops and his the thing. And it was like Jesus was
Flip-flops.
walking up there.
He was Surfer Jesus.
And Jesus was walking up the driveway, and he came in, and he said, how you doing? And I said, my mother was in her apartment because we had an ensuite.
Yeah.
And he sat down and he ate. And he said, okay, and my husband walked in the door and he was like, hey, how are you, Father Dave? And they had
Yeah.
this whole thing and they went in the garage and he looked at his motorcycle and because I said, I don't want to make
was a
her
cool-
nervous.
cool priest.
Very. So my mom came in and he said, hey, Diane, what's going on? And she looked at him and she said, only God knows. He goes, you're right. You're right.
I like him already.
He was amazing.
Wow, that's awesome.
We became friends.
Isn't it amazing how in times of strife like that, because I hear stories like this all the time and have my own,
I can't even tell you.
like the right person is just put into our life.
Cannot even tell you that.
And-
I couldn't have gone through the death of my mother without him.
See, and that's what happens so often, and that's why I say to people, how could you not believe there's something higher orchestrating?
Well-
and especially now where we are in the world, there's so many things. It's all happening behind the scenes right now,
Oh.
guys. Whatever you're seeing
There's no
play out,
mistakes.
it's
There's no mistakes. Who's in your life that minute, that second, that time, whether it's good, bad, or different, they're there for a reason,
Yeah.
whatever is happening.
And I always feel the purpose is always some kind of healing. Everything occurs for a healing.
So to shorten up the story, Father Dave came once a month. He would give her, we made holy water in my house.
Wow.
Like real holy water with everything, which I still
Wow.
have in my jar, which I will forever.
He was really amazing.
He was amazing. So he was supposed to come see my mom. Mm-hmm. And I said, Father Dave, don't come because we had to leave and we're taking my mom to the hospice house. And he said, what's the address? I said, oh, no, you're in Bayshore. I have to go to, it was in Port Jefferson.
Oh,
He goes,
yeah.
I want the address. He would not stop till I gave him the address. He drove on vacation all the way to Port Jefferson.
Wow.
And he gave my mom her last rites with my entire
Wow.
family
That
around.
was just supposed to be that way.
But here's the crazy part. So she passed on 8/6.
August 6th.
So Father Dave says to me, you're not going to believe this. Your mother died in the transfiguration of Jesus.
Oh, wow,
That
that's
is the
right.
most special day.
It's a very sacred holy day
It's
in
a
the church.
very sacred holy day
Yeah.
in the church. And I was like, okay. So I learned all about the transfiguration of Jesus. So every single 8/6, Father Dave knows he's going to see me in that church.
Right.
Because he moves churches. They don't stay in the same church.
Oh, right. But you're going to go in honor. Yeah.
So this 1/8/6, I say, oh, Joe, Father Dave's mass is going to be at 5 o'clock, but we were invited to a beach party.
Okay.
And I really wanted to go to the beach party.
Right.
So I felt really torn and bad.
Yeah.
So my husband said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, let's go to Home Depot, get our stuff done. I said, me and Mom always went to Our Lady of Lourdes, which Father Dave was never at.
Right.
And we always lit, they have like the real candle that stays lit for the
Yeah,
whole week.
right. Instead of like the push button.
So we pull in, we went to Home Depot, we're sitting there was a funeral, and we're sitting in the car, we're talking.
Yeah.
You ready?
It's Father Dave.
Father Dave comes walking out of the church.
Wow.
And I jump out of the truck.
You couldn't even believe he was
No,
there.
could not believe he was there. He goes, "Are you following me?" And I was like, Father Dave, you have no idea. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
you weren't even planning on going there, and then you go there randomly.
Look at me.
Yeah.
But what a blessing that was, because 8-6, I need Father Dave.
Yeah, you need Father Dave.
So we're standing there, I'm holding his hands, because I'm a little much, sometimes.
You're a little extra.
A little extra. And I'm holding his
Extra.
hands, and he goes, in between us is this butterfly going like this. In
Wow.
between us. I said, Father
Sign of life.
Dave. Sign of life. So I can't even tell you that whole journey.
All that synchronicity. There's no denying that it's too much of a coincidence.
Too
So
much
it has
of
to
a
be
coincidence
orchestrated.
that I went on the one side of the church, then the other side. Like I was getting pushed. And
So now tell me, and I don't know the whole story, I'm trying to remember it, and those of you who know me well know I have no recall anymore.
No worries.
With the stone, there was something with the stone.
So
that was one that blew my mind.
When they brought my mom to the, and I can't even believe I'm saying this because I usually cry hysterical
Yeah.
talking about
But you're
any
next
of
to
this.
me.
But
Okay.
when they brought her to the hospice house, I'm a stone girl. I love all my crystals.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this crystal, that crystal. I mean, I was at a business meeting one time and I went to shake someone's hair and it went bloom, bloom, bloom. And
You want to hear a funny story?
So what was that? I said, that was my crystal.
I have a very good friend. I don't know if she's watching. I haven't seen her in years, but I had a good friend who we were into crystals together, right? And we used to put crystals in our bras.
That's what I did.
Because we would keep them somewhere. We didn't, want them in our pockets. We wore tight jeans or whatever. So one time we were somewhere shopping, and we went to try on clothes, and all of our crystals were falling on the floor of the dressing room all over the place.
George, I knew we were meant to be.
Tricia, if you're watching, you probably remember that. But
that's hysterical. So when we got to the hospice place, because in my mind, I was ordering her her eggs
very
with ketchup.
somber time. Yeah.
No, I was ordering her eggs with ketchup, and are you going to take blood? And they're like, no, we're not.
Oh.
I was in total
denial.
crazy space,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, well,
So
sometimes that happens.
I put an amethyst in her hand because I love the stones.
Right,
So
and you have a
did
little
she.
amethyst with you tonight. I know.
I have her amethyst, which I will show you. That never leaves my house. It's bedside, but this was the amethyst that was in her hand.
So beautiful.
So the point I'm trying to make is I put it in her hand, forgot about it, because then you know how that goes. There was so much going on and, whatever. So she passes, and I start rummaging for the amethyst, and I can't find it. I cannot find it.
It was in
anywhere.
Mom's hand when she passed.
It
and
was
now
in
it's
her
gone.
hands. Now
Okay.
it's completely gone. Now I'm freaking out because I want my amethyst.
Yeah, you're attached to it.
And I'm like calling. I'm saying, please, if you see it, please, is it in the garbage?
Right,
I
you
kept
told the
calling.
nurses and everybody.
Everyone.
Wow.
I made them
You were
go
calling
through
hospice.
the laundry.
So you left there and it was
I
gone.
left there. It was
Okay.
gone, and I was obsessing. I kept saying, I can't believe the amethyst. And my father's like, it's okay, honey, it's okay. Everyone's like, Sherri,
Yeah,
shut up.
but
about
it was
the
really
amethyst.
weighing heavily on you.
So heavy. So I had to go to the store. We were going shopping for funeral clothes or whatever.
Yeah.
I sat down in my office. I put my sneakers on, and the amethyst was in my sneaker. The amethyst was in my sneaker. I was flipping.
But how did it get in your sneaker?
It must have rolled out of her hand. I don't know how it got
But
in
you
my
would
sneaker.
feel it in your sneaker.
I have no idea how it got in my sneaker. Maybe I had extra shoes. I don't know how it got in the sneaker.
Wow.
But all I know is
Mom
I was
returned
screaming.
it.
No, I was screaming in my house. I found the amethyst. And they, So they were all like, oh boy, okay, she found the amethyst. But
Oh my gosh.
to me, it was just such a, such a moment.
Right. It was like
such
you
a
were connected with
moment.
Mom again.
Right, and then
Yeah.
everything kept, my daughter didn't want her to be buried, so she's like, do you think we could bring Nan home? I said, I don't know. We have to talk to Pop.
Oh.
He said, do whatever you want.
Right.
So we said, okay, we're going to bring her back home. She could be in the house with us.
Right.
Whatever. So we went to go pick out the urn, and they have a whole wall. And we used to call her Donald Trump because she loved cream and gold.
Oh,
Lady
wow.
Di loved cream and gold.
Wow.
And when we looked at the urn, it was my father's birthday.
Wow.
We said, that's the one.
Right.
So it was crazy. So every time.
All these little touches.
Every time 8/6, everything.
Her death date.
Everything is 8/6, and I'm going to tell you, when you pass at hospice, they put a butterfly
Oh yeah.
on your door,
Yeah.
so people know that
Right.
okay,
Your
that person
transition.
passed, and
Right.
they don't
It's a
want
symbol of transition.
They don't want people to bother
Right.
you at that moment. So it was a purple one.
Well, I was going to say, and the butterfly thing also correlates with that date of the transfiguration of Christ, because the butterfly is a symbol of transformation and transfiguration, because the butterfly changes. And the story behind the butterfly also is like, You know, the butterfly goes from the cocoon to being a butterfly, and it changes, and you know, like we do in life, we change, you know, into other we transform into other energy when we pass. And I don't even call it death. When someone passes, I call it, oh, they transformed.
Wow.
Because I believe they're in a different place with, you know, different energy. Maybe they're in a different lifetime or whatever. But the butterfly, this is the thing about butterflies. Even when the butterfly is a caterpillar, it's already a butterfly. It just doesn't know it yet. The DNA is to be a caterpillar.
The DNA is to be a caterpillar?
Of course, because that's what it becomes, right? So for us, we have a full potential in our DNA. Wow. We don't live it. We stay in the chrysalis and we stay a caterpillar.
Wow.
You know, but something in our DNA has our full potential. A caterpillar is born to be a butterfly. It's in the DNA.
But here was the cool part was everyone had a different color butterfly.
See that?
They did not just put, there was yellows, there was orange.
So what color was your mom's?
Purple. And
The amethyst.
Purple. Oh, right, I didn't even connect that.
Yeah.
And she's a Pisces. So her birthstone was purple.
Oh.
Hello.
Wow.
So that's crazy.
But I'm going to tell you about amethyst and the color purple, because I work in violet light. And the reason why I work in violet light when I do healing work or Reiki or I'm in meditation things is because violet and purple is the highest spectrum of light on the rainbow. It's the highest vibration of light you can have.
Really?
And that's why a lot of healers, like we have the purple light behind us, that's why a lot of healers work in violet light. Yeah. And sometimes when people come to have an appointment with me for Reiki or whatever, they'll be driving there and they'll come in and they'll say, I don't know why, but everything looked purple on the way over here. And I'm like, yeah, that's not working purple light. Because that's the high, when I do Reiki, you know, for like my cancer ladies or anybody, that is like the highest spectrum. And we use that a lot, you'll see in Zancuda, because it's high vibe. So just that your mother was attached to that means she's a very high vibrational being, wherever she is.
Oh, I'm sure without
Yeah.
a shadow of a doubt. Because she was only 73 years old. So she was not ready to leave her family.
Well, and you weren't ready for her to leave.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. You could
Not
never
ready.
have been ready for that.
No, and she was scared to go. And I mean, she didn't even know she was on hospice. We didn't let her know.
Wow.
I kept the medicine in my refrigerator. I would go in and say, here, Mommy, here's your prune juice. She would take it. She would relax.
But what a beautiful daughter you were.
Oh, thanks.
You know, you had a beautiful mom, but she must have been so grateful to have you.
Oh. Listen, it got to the point where, you know, no more needles, no more hospitals, no more. She had emphysema really bad. But so I
Let
think
her
she
have
had
whatever
cancer,
she wants.
whatever.
Yeah.
So we brought her home and we stopped, and it was funny because we didn't tell her. I said, Mommy, all the nurses are going to come here now and see you. And she said, oh, good. Okay, good. So one day the lady had the hospice tag. She goes, she had a hospice tag on. I said, oh, they flip it back and forth when they go because they go to hospice too, Ma.
Oh, you're pretty good, quick.
Well, I didn't want her to feel bad.
When my dad was dying and hospice came, he told him to leave because he'd call him when he needed him. True story. Tough dad that I had. My dad, you know, big Italian dad, veteran of 2 wars, and hospice lady walks in. He starts flirting with her. Do you know how beautiful you are? He's on his deathbed, and typical of my dad. And then he told her, "We'll call you. I'll call you if I need you." He died 2 days later.
Well, this is
he was
crazy.
a tough one. My dad was tough.
My parents were high school sweethearts.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yes, and they were Ken and Barbie. They were very, very good-looking couple.
What an amazing childhood you must have had.
I really did, and my mom being my biggest fan was so special because she always rooted me on. She'd say, "Go ahead," and I was, you know, I'm chunky, and she was always very thin, and she just always cheered me on no matter what, and the kids.
So when you obviously you're bereft after a loss like that, because this has been like, you know, just,
I was a nut. I was unconsolable for at least a year.
I can imagine, Sherri, to go through that, having such a close relationship. But
and she was so young, like I needed that more time with her. You know, so many big things were going to happen. My son was going to play college baseball right when
she would have championed him. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I have a little story. I don't know how much longer we have.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to ask you, like, when you were, you know, you're in this place and you're so bereft, but then you start to get these connections. And you must have found that comforting.
Well, it made me believe that she was still always around. Even though I don't dream, Georgia. Why don't I dream?
Well,
I
you do dream. You just don't remember them. You dream. Everyone dreams. Nobody doesn't
So
dream.
why don't I remember them?
Sometimes we just don't. You can actually set an intention for that and try and train your mind. What a lot of professionals say is to leave a pad by your bed and don't get out of bed in the morning. Like stay in bed when you're awake and actually try and write or try and look at in your mind what you were dreaming about. I don't always remember my dreams, and sometimes if people are sleeping in the same room with me or something, they will tell me that I'm talking out. I'm like having stories in my dreams because I feel like I get a lot of downloads in my dreams. You probably do too. But when you wake up, you're in a different place of consciousness.
Huh.
So you don't remember them.
Wow.
But I think that's why the messages come through, is to make us feel exactly what you just said. Like they're still there. There's something out there. There's more to it.
Well, I got a huge confirmation this year, because this year has been probably, I would have to say, going down as one of the toughest for me.
I know you had some health issues.
I was at Douglas Elliman for 17 years. Met Kathy. It was
right. Kathy's the owner of the company we work in now.
Had met with Kathy because some brokers were coming over here, and they kept going, "What are you doing over there? Come with us, come with us." And I was like, "All right, leave me alone,"
Right.
But they kept it up.
Yeah.
They didn't stop.
Yeah.
So I said, they were like, "Could we give Kathy your phone number?" I'm like, "Okay." So she was like, "Could you come to my office?" I'm like, "No."
Best move you ever made.
No. But I was on my way for an official interview with her and her COO, and I was driving on the SAG, and I'm like, "Mom, what do I do? What do I do? I built this huge business over here."
So now you're talking to your dead mom.
Yeah,
It's just another day, like we all do. We talk to our dead
Mom,
parents.
I'm saying, "Ma, what do I do here? I'm so established here. I do,
Right.
But I was,
Change is scary.
I'm driving on the Sagdacoast Parkway, and there's a van in front of me, and on the back of the van is 86.
So it's your mother's death date is 8/6.
86
And
on the
there's
van.
your sign.
And it was this big, just a number,
There's your
86.
sign.
And I go,
Yeah.
"Okay, Mommy, we're going to go with this. We're going to
you
go
go.
with this."
There's always voices from beyond. Now that 8/6 date comes up, I know, on a very special day for you also, where you were visiting with a very special person.
Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy, because I didn't even know it till many years later. My mom was a little bit sick. My husband's family, we were going to go to Italy on the 5th. It was 2015. It was before my son was going to play college baseball, and all big things happening that you need to be home for. So we went to Italy on 8/6, and my husband's family owns a restaurant in Rome, so a lot of the clergy frequent their restaurant. And I had gone with my husband 30 years ago to Italy, and I wanted to see Pope John Paul, but they lied. They wanted to have dinner. So I saw the Pope on the TV. I said, "I thought they said he wasn't in Italy. I thought they said he was traveling." So a whole boudel started with the family. So they made sure when I came back this time that I was going to see the Pope, but it was Pope Francis.
Okay.
So my entire family got blessed, and we met. We had an audience with Pope Francis
Wow.
on 8/6 in 2015.
What was that like?
It was
The energy.
Forget it.
Yeah.
My kids
Yeah.
kept going, "Ma." I go, "We can go home now. I'm good."
I'm
It was
good.
the most amazing. He was the most amazing, because there's a papal door that they come in.
Yeah.
But he went outside with the people that couldn't get in.
Oh, how sweet is he?
And he walked down the aisle this way. And we were in the first, there's a box with 3 rows, and he knows that those are the audience people he'll have at the end of the welcoming.
Wow.
And then he comes.
So that's orchestrating a lot of stuff to get you to that point.
Oh, listen, I was in the front row. He gives you rosary beads. I hugged him and kissed him on both cheeks. Like, I loved him.
And what was the date?
It was 8/6 in 2015. So I am in North Carolina for the Baseball College World Series that my son was going to play in.
Okay.
And my girlfriend, all she kept doing was kissing her cross.
Oh.
Because, it started getting a
Yeah.
little bit more
Right.
competition.
Right, it gets up there with the kids.
So we were just chatting, and I said, "Yeah, I met the Pope." And she was like, "You met the Pope?" And I took out my phone.
Sure.
And this is probably 2021, 22.
So this is like 6 years later, you take out a picture of you and the Pope.
And I looked down, and the date is 8/6.
And you didn't even realize it
I
for
started
6
crying
years.
hysterical. All these
Wow.
people, all these strangers at the table were at the table. And she's like, "What's the matter?" And I was like, my mom died on 8/6. Like, I
Oh,
couldn't
wow.
even believe it.
Yeah,
I never,
yeah.
how could I
But
not
you
even
see
register?
how what I mean? It's like the orchestrating
It
things.
was
Like
crazy.
somebody had to ask you to take the phone out. You had to find the picture. Then you had to see that.
It was so many
And
years
it's
later.
years later. Yeah.
And I said
but
to
it's
my
just
son,
a touch. It's like I'm still here.
And I said to my son, this was a huge touch because he played baseball, college baseball, for 4 years. His coach got fired. A whole new regime came in, and they were mean to him.
Oh.
And I kept saying, do me a favor, just give the jersey back. Like, you're
you
on
don't
your
need
way
this,
out now.
right,
We're
you
not
don't
going to
need
be a
this.
Yankee.
Yeah.
We're done. Like, stop. And he said, sorry, Mom. They're not taking my jersey off. I'm going to take it off when I'm ready.
see
I
that?
said, okay.
He's not a
but
quitter.
I was annoyed the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
What?
Not only did he stay, but he got to play in the Baseball World Series, and he led them in strikeouts for that one game.
Wow.
And I said, they're never going to do it again. Nanny did that.
See that?
That was your grandmother.
Wow. You
They'll
knew.
never get back there.
You knew.
I knew. I knew that was
And
God
that's
given.
what happens. And so, I just want to be inspirational for everybody out there,
Yes.
because if you have a loss like this,
Oh, it hurts so bad.
oh, it's devastating, but there's comfort in knowing that love is eternal. And like I said it on the program a lot, and I'll say it again, when someone loves you, like the amount of love that you and your mother have between you, and that love
A
was
mother's love. That's
right,
it.
and it was so
Nobody loves you like your mother.
no,
Nobody.
and it was
Nobody.
so redeemed for you both. And now that person is no longer on this earth, but they're in paradise, right? Like I'm at Paradise Studios right now, and they're in paradise. And like I always say, if you thought their love was strong here, if they're now in a place of only goodness,
Right.
like we can't even imagine what heaven feels like. So can you imagine what their love is?
So I have one last thing that I'm
please.
going to share.
I love your
So,
stories.
Is it okay if
Absolutely,
okay.
please.
So I had open heart surgery 14 weeks ago.
And you're doing great.
I'm doing great. It was a lot.
We're getting you through it.
It was a lot. It was a lot. But I had open heart surgery 14 weeks ago, and they kept saying, "Do you have allergies? Do you have allergies? Do you have allergies? Do you have?" And I really don't have allergies, only
Right.
to Augmentin or something. And literally, the gentleman had the needle to put in my arm, and I said, "But I
Like the
did
final seconds.
Final seconds." And I don't know where it came from, but it was my mother. I know, because as a kid, I used to have nickelitis.
Okay, so you're
So if you
allergic to
didn't-
nickel.
I'm allergic to nickel. So I said, I don't know if this makes a difference or anything, I say to the guy with the needle. I
As
suffered.
he's hovering over you in an
hovering
OR.
over me. No lie. Literally, they're ready to put.
Wow.
And they're like, you sure you haven't? And I said, well, I did suffer from like a little nickelitis. They're like, get Robinson on the phone.
Oh my God,
Like,
they
it
were
was a
calling
big
for the
deal.
surgeon.
Yes, they had to change the valve they were putting in.
What if you hadn't said that?
I don't know.
Wow.
So that wasn't.
Somebody
that
was
heaven
watching
sent.
over you, Sherri.
That was heaven
Yeah,
sent.
that was heaven sent.
So
Definitely.
these are all my and listen, I'm
Now,
sorry
what do
if
you
anybody.
have here?
Oh no, so my mom was maybe gone, I don't know, a year, and my dad started to sell the house, and he said, Sherri, and you know Mommy's coupon thing?
She was a couponer.
Where? Couponer?
Oh my
you guys
gosh.
all know.
Look at all these coupons you still have in here.
This is the funniest thing. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, they're closed now, but
Bed Bath
and Beyond, 20% off.
This was her thing, and she would put, swear to God, look at them all. I never got rid of
Yeah.
them. But she would put her like gift cards if we gave her gift cards to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a little-
So he said, Sherri, and check, I know
It's
Mommy.
a Coach couponer.
Yeah. She said, my father said, Sherri, could you go and look and see if Mommy has any coupon, gift cards to the restaurants?
Your name is Sherri Ann?
Yeah.
My mom's name is Ann.
Oh.
Our moms are up there somewhere together.
So I'm going through the coupon
I thought it was
thing,
just Sherri. I didn't know you had an Ann in
and
there.
I'm looking for, the things, and all of a sudden I flip and I see Sherri.
She left a message for you in her couponer?
She left me a letter.
Wow.
She left it for the whole family.
Now, how long after she died did you find this?
About a year.
Wow. What a gift.
I was flipping. I was screaming.
Look at
like a
this
lunatic.
letter.
Oh,
My
it's
gosh.
a letter. It's a full letter.
Wow.
It's a full letter. And she wrote it to me first. I tell everybody in the family. It says, to Sherri. Dear Sherri. And then she went to my father, then my brother.
And this is like her wishes or her thoughts for all of you, or just
Yeah, she
in
just
case
said,
something
you were
happened
the best
to her?
daughter a mom
Oh
could
my
ever have.
God.
I loved you with all my heart.
I want a letter.
I love you.
I found,
Yeah,
I found the
swear.
whole diary. So.
I swear.
Wow.
So
How
this-
beautiful.
So I keep, this isn't the original, because I
You probably put it away.
laminated it,
Yeah.
but I keep everything just the way it was. I'm crazy.
Can you imagine? We had Stephanie Kalanoff on the show a couple
I
weeks
know.
ago, and she found a letter from her mom as well.
And
Yeah.
I have a pig from Stephanie.
I know, Stephanie and the pigs. We talked about that on the last show.
I
So
have a
guys,
pig.
if you, I think that's a beautiful thing. So write some letters and stick them somewhere so your loved ones can find them.
Listen, it's just whether you lost, whoever you lost in your life, they're with us.
So people are like loving the show. They're saying, thank you for this. It's comforting and beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
And your stories are so interesting.
Aw.
I think it's so important to give people these stories because a lot of times when people come to see me for a reading or whatever, they'll say, I'm not getting any messages. Why aren't they giving me messages? And sometimes I think it's because we're not listening, especially when we're in a lot of grief. We're not looking, we're not, and it's not that we have to really be like, oh, where's my message? But I think sometimes if we just relax and surrender and just believe that there is something after this life, and then it comes.
I think that a great movie that everyone should see is The Shack.
Yes, that is a great movie. Yep.
Because people say, why this? Just watch that movie and you get
Explain.
so many answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the turning points for me when, and my parents' death was something that was definitely a turning point in my life to open me spiritually and other people's as well. And one of the things that I always think of is when we're not spiritually mature, right? When we're in like our beginning phase of this lifetime, or we're really just not in self-study, we're not in our soul space, right? We think things are happening to us all the time. Why is this happening to me? How could this happen? And then when you develop a little bit of spiritual insight and maturity, one of the first lessons I learned was that's not really true. It's happening for you.
Right.
It's not, and that's what the shack is all about. It's like this isn't happening to us.
And you know what's so special? Like my daughter has the same thing because she was so close to my mom.
Oh yeah, Grandma.
Sophia's an equestrian. She's taken 1,500-pound animals, ran me into a fence.
Wow. Yeah.
And
she's an adventurer.
I know she protected her the whole time, and she came in second
Yeah.
in the nation.
See
in
that?
College.
Oh my gosh,
In
that's an
college.
accomplishment. Wow.
Only rich people do that.
Well, you must be money bagged.
No, I'm just saying, but the truth is.
So always believe and realize that even when we're in a crisis, whether it's a loss of death or a loss through something else or just something that we really valued, it was an illusion, remember that it's happening for you, and try not to ask why, ask where. Like, where is this bringing me, Sarah said she found a Valentine my dad must have sent to me in college. Zero recollection of ever seeing it before. Laying on the floor in my closet a year or so after his death around Valentine's Day. So,
So
these
he was
things,
saying Happy Valentine's,
yeah,
my
you're
girl.
my Valentine. How beautiful is that? And that must make every Valentine's Day extra special now,
But watching Stephanie on the show, she had the same exact relationship with her mother.
Yeah, she did.
So
Yeah.
when I was watching her, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It just touched me so much.
I'm so glad we had you on too, though.
Aw, thank you.
We should have everybody on. We need to do a gallery. So
That would be fun.
It would be fun, right? I think
do we have
so,
to pick a
too.
card of the day?
We do. I'm going to pick a card, and then I'm going to tell everybody where to find us all. Okay.
You guys need these cards.
These
need
are
these
our
cards.
Circle of Light cards. You can get them on zenkuda.com, on my website, where you can also book a reading. And the booker on my website will give you your appointment and everything. So it's one stop. Go there, and you
I
can
love them. Every morning I pull
you can
one.
book on. You can book a mediumship reading or an astrology reading, whatever you like to do. This is my passion project in life. I just
share love.
to do. That's
I
it.
want everyone
That's
to be
it.
Just
Just
I
be a
can't
good
stand
person.
when nobody's not being nice.
This is
Just
my
be
golden rule. Be a good
nice.
person, not a butthead.
Right, right.
Too many buttheads in the world. So Sherri, you pick a card from our Circle of Light.
I have to get the purple.
And they're amethyst color.
Yeah, I have to get this one right here.
Okay, what you got, baby?
Illumination.
Illumination. So this is our beautiful card that is Illumination. These cards are all created by yours truly, all original artwork, and we have a little booklet here that tells us a little bit about Illumination. It comes with a little booklet from Circle of Light.
It's awesome.
And I made these cards, see, Circle of Light is a little booklet, and I made these cards to just illuminate everybody's world and kind of put a little more light in our life. So you can find them, and you can find me on zenkuda.com, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Zenkuda, and all of my social media, Zenkuda Soul Space on Facebook, and Zenkuda Official on Instagram. So Illumination, you will be blessed with the spiritual truth you are meant to understand from your experiences. That is so appropriate for
That's
tonight.
so appropriate.
Because you really had a lot of things that happened to bring you to that spirituality of, no, this lifetime isn't the end.
Right.
It's the beginning of something else. And you know you're going to see your mom again one day. Yeah.
I know.
So this card urges you to seek illumination in the areas you have withheld from light. So whether that's your health or whatever it is in life, like make sure that you are putting everything into light, because light will be the best redeemer. It will be the best transformation. Allow the light of Creator to show you the truth of these things. Trust His love to show you what you're meant to learn. This illumination will lift your burdens and bring you to a higher place of love and light in your life.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and so these cards really can, you know, when you're in a place of, sometimes we all have a little bit of a darkness or a dark day, and you can pull a circle of light card, and there's Sherri has hers. I gave
Freedom.
those to Sherri.
Mine was freedom
Oh,
today.
see that?
Because I was
one
I
you
was
picked
not in a
earlier.
good place when I woke up, and when I read that, I was like, oh, that's great.
And see, I gifted you those cards when you weren't well, so I wanted to put light in you, and that's what they do. You can even buy them to gift them to somebody that you know is in challenge.
But Georgia, you're a blessing. Like,
Oh, thank
I know
you.
have,
We're all
no,
blessings.
No, but I know that you have passion for this, but you heal and do so much good for so many people that you don't realize.
Oh,
and I want
love
you to know that.
Thank you so much. I
the
think
truth.
we all have the capacity to do that.
I try.
We just got to be good people in the world and spread that light. It's so important, especially now, because we're in a time where things are dissolving and there's a lot of destruction in the world, not always for bad. Sometimes we have to let go of things that are just outdated and no longer work, and the things we've even outgrown in our own life.
So I have a question for you. My mother-in-law passed on the 20th of January.
Okay.
How long does it take them to...
Each one is different. I think souls, when they pass, like my dad was right there, you know. Sometimes they have work to do on the other side, you know. But just be open, because your mom-in-law will come through. I feel like, just as we're saying this, and I know we have to sign off soon, but for some reason, I don't know why. Your mom-in-law did not live with you, did she? Because for some reason, I feel like I'm seeing something around your husband in the kitchen.
Oh, she was a great cook.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like there's
And,
going to...
oh, maybe you see that because I host everything in my kitchen.
Maybe, but I feel like it might be, but I'm gonna invite me. But I feel like there's something in the kitchen that
Her
is
and I
a
did
sign
Christmas
for
together.
for your husband. It's a sign for your
okay.
husband that he's going to kind of find and say, "Hey, I found this. I think this is a sign
good.
from Mom."
Good,
So
because he's a
gonna have-
non-believer. We have to.
No,
you know.
he's going to have a coincidence that he's
Oh,
going to
good.
call it a coincidence, but we know it's not. But he's going to have something that definitely comes. I feel his mother's energy around your kitchen, and I
Okay,
feel like
perfect.
she's going to fix his wagon, and he'll be a believer.
Okay.
And whenever
what we need.
anybody comes to me and says, "Oh, I don't believe," I always say, "Well, you don't believe yet,
Right.
because something's going to happen
They
in
call
our
me
lives."
quack when I'm doing my saging and blowing.
And you know, that brings me to my, I have a minute and 10 seconds left, and I'm just going to say, this is a lesson we're all being taught right now, and it's called acceptance of diversity. And so as we're all in this polarization, and your way, my way, I'm right, you're wrong,
Right.
whatever, the root of that and the higher octave of that is accepting that everyone is diverse, and we can all believe what we want to believe. Just find your own truth. Don't believe what I believe. Don't believe what I believe. Find your own beliefs. You know, if the show inspires you to do that, I'm happy. But we can all believe different things. Two things can be right. You know, just allow that in your life and be peaceful. We have to find our peace. That's
Just
what we
be
have to find.
kind.
Peace and kindness.
Love the kindness.
So we're going to sign out. Thank you so much for coming on
no,
tonight,
thank
Sherri.
you
I
for
love
having
you.
me. Love you
Mwah.
too. Thank you for
And
having me.
we'll be here
This
next
was
Monday
great.
night in the Soul Space with another inspirational guest. Thank you so much for watching. I am Georgia Rose, and you can
Bye,
find
everybody.
me on Zenkuda on YouTube, and Zenkuda Official on Instagram, and Zenkuda Soul Space on Facebook. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.